Good morning. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. It's another episode of AKP Sports Talk. It is Tuesday, November 21st. That is Ari. I'm Korea. How you doing, Ari? Obviously, Tuesday morning came back off of a pretty eventful Super Bowl rematch last night. Had some good NBA. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Like you said, it was a pretty good game. Obviously not the most not the highest scoring game that it could have been, but it was raining like you mentioned. It was going to be yesterday. It was obviously solid defensive play, good pressure on both quarterbacks. So, it was a good, it was a good close game. Just all you can really ask for is not a blowout, which obviously a lot of these primetime games all year have been said blowouts. So you can't complain. When it's a close game.
Yeah, definitely a very defensive game. Kind of opposite of the first game was back in that Super Bowl 38 that the Chiefs won. And we'll get back and get into my best bets recap from yesterday. Obviously, the Chiefs did lose 21-17. So that's a tough loss right there. Did not have a good day. Like I said, the Chiefs might have lean. Like I said, this was pretty much a system play in terms of the Chiefs. All the trends are pointing that direction. This was the first time as faced someone in the Super Bowl, in the same season after. It's the first time the champion has lost. There was a current trend, whoever wins the Super Bowl, in the rematch the following season would also win. And, the Chiefs are now the first team to break that trend. So, like I said, it was a tough end, but, like I said, I knew it was going to be a close game. I knew it was going to be a very defensive game. And, as soon as but then again, like I said, one MVS catch away from, who knows how this game would have went. So just a tough way to end it. And then, DeAndre Swift. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. Oh, that is the worst kind of pain. He finished right on 12 or 13. Look, these carry lines. You could have given him the ball twice. Jalen Hurts and his self. Oh, Mister, I'll run it myself. Okay, buddy. Look, Swift. That was a tough line. You can't really ask for much. It was really, really such a good line. I thought they were going to give him the ball more, but you mentioned this game was weird. Both of these offenses really struggled, throughout the game. They couldn't really get an offense moving, and maybe it was part of the rain, but whatever. Just a tough line for Swift, even with all the carries he did have gotten, how involved he was in that offense. We are definitely it's just a bad beat. So, I'm not beating myself too much over Swift. The Chiefs money line, look, that was a sweat. And like I said, that was a lean. I didn't officially make it a play, so I'm not really counting it as a play. But, Swift, that's an unfortunate loss. And, I'm really upset about that one. But we won't beat ourselves too much up after that one. And then going to basketball, Marquette might be banned, bro. Marquette might be banned. How you almost losing to UCLA? What are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, that's a tough line. I'm pretty sure not a lot of people saw that. If you saw that game, you would have seen just how Marquette just folded under themselves. I don't know what is going on with this Maui Invitational. No one can shoot at this Maui Invitational. I did not see one good team shoot the ball yesterday. So I'm hoping that trend stops today. And the teams that I'll get into in a little bit, they perform well. But yesterday, when you're shooting barely 30% from three, and that's kind of where you live and die on, it's going to be a tough day for you to catch points. And, they only won by 2, but they won. So, I'm definitely taking the loss. They definitely could have won this game by a lot more, if they just hit their shots. And that, you can easily say that, but, they forced UCLA to turn over the ball 14 times compared to 7. Like the stats say Marquette should have won by 15, but, when you're not hitting your shots, you can't really do much. Speaking of not hitting your shots, Gonzaga. Yo, what are we doing? 6 for 32 from 3, 0 for 12 in the second half? What am I supposed to do, Ari? What am I supposed to do? You can't hit a single 3 in the second half? Like, what are we doing? They lost by 10. That line was at 4.5. If 2 of those in the second half go in, we cover this. So that has to be the worst college basketball beat I have had this season. So Gonzaga and Marquette, look, when you can't shoot, you can't shoot. And that is what these teams do. The Gonzaga, the 6 for 32 from 3, Ryan Nembhard cannot. Where were you? I have an APB out for Ryan Nembhard. Tyler Kolek, where were you? So it's just tough. Nice to see UConn have that easy win for us as well. I wanted to get into it, but I was getting into it a lot more, and I just like I said, they did not have size. Texas does not have size, and that's going to be the one thing killing them all year, especially against a team like Kansas, who has Hunter Dickinson inside. And when they don't have size, it's going to be a long day. Even with a bad shooting day from UConn, they won by 10. They hit most of their they hit 16 of 18 from the line, 29 of 61 from the field. That's about 50%. You cannot ask for anything better than that. If you're going about 50% from the field and almost 100% at the line, you're almost going to win every time in college. So I think that was the recipe. And I just thought that UConn was easily the better team. So it was -6.5 was free. They won by 10. I will say Texas did keep it a little close sometimes. I think that was like sometimes at 6, but then UConn did stretch it out. So Chiefs money line wasn't really official play, so I'm not counting it. Swift, that the game script was reading for script over 13.5 carries, but I don't know what happened there. Gonzaga, they went 6 for 30. They couldn't hit a 3 in the second half, and Marquette, they live and die by the 3. You can't. It's just tough. It's just tough. But we'll scratch that. I'm not even gonna remember it because we're gonna move on to today. Ari, how did you do yesterday?
Yeah, 1-1 day for me. You mentioned the Chiefs money line. If MVS catches that touchdown, there's still 1:40 left, so you obviously don't know what would happen after that, but at least it would have given him a chance. But once he dropped that, then you have potential grounding, and then it's basically done after that. So obviously, in sports, there's nothing you can do about, instances like that where a receiver just dropped a touchdown like MVS did. But then the Heat cruised over the Bulls. Like I expected them to bounce back after blowing a 22-1 point lead to the same team the game before. They won by 18. So I think out of by like 23. Jaime Hawkins has actually been really good off the bench for Miami the past handful of games. I think he had 19 off the bench for them. So yeah, good win for Miami. 1-1 day for me yesterday with the Chiefs and the Heat.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that MVS catch at the end, who knows what happened because there was still a lot of time left in, Hurts and Mahomes. You don't want to give either of them too much time. But, like you said, that was a third down play. MVS was wide open over the top, right in his hands. That could have been, that could have been a game sealer. Chiefs would have been up by 3 potentially. So you never know what could have happened. But, on the end, the Chiefs, that is a tough loss. And then obviously with the intentional grounding on the next play. Oh, no, it was a second down.
Second, yeah.
We had that deep bomb. Third down, the next play has that intentional grounding to set up 4th and forever. So, it just, as soon as that MVS, it just they folded underneath. So it was just tough to see for the Chiefs money line, obviously. And then obviously you mentioned the Heat, Cruz free. You mentioned Jaime Hawkins. He has been a really big piece for that Heat for the Heat off the bench with 19. And then it was kind of sweat free. I kept notes of that game. The Heat really led throughout that game, so that was nice to see bounce back for you. So 1-1 day, we'll take that on the card as well after my horrible performance. But we're gonna get into today's best bets now, and I have 2, and this one starts pretty early, so I will have this posted on Twitter first. But I'm gonna do Gonzaga today. I'm taking the -12.5, and I know, Korea. Why are you taking a team that just lost by 10 to Purdue against Syracuse? Because I love Gonzaga today. Syracuse is in a rebuilding program. This is the first year without any name Boeheim in the arena. That is not Jim. And I think that Gonzaga is great in this bounce back spot. They could not shoot the ball yesterday. I mean, if you asked them to shoot a 3 and they made it, they couldn't make it. They missed almost every shot from 3. Could not hit anything in the second half. I think that was just the warm up. I think they come out today, actually just execute what they did yesterday and execute in terms of shooting the ball well. I think this is a great bounce back spot for them at -12.5 against a Syracuse team that is just looking different. I think they don't, even though Tennessee did beat them and kept it close by 14. I think Gonzaga comes out and just absolutely tears Syracuse a new one. I think Gonzaga's offense is going to be too much, and I think Ike inside, compared to the size that Syracuse has, I don't think they're going to be able to stop Gonzaga today. So I like him at -half tonight. Not tonight. In about a couple hours. In the Maui Invitational to kickoff, and then going to the later game, I only have 2 plays. I like Tennessee +3.5 today. That line I think is slowly moving to +3 in the opposite direction. But I do like Tennessee at least cover, and I will sprinkle Tennessee on the money line as well. I think Tennessee wins this outright. This is a very defensive game. In terms of Purdue, and like I said, all they needed to do was pretty much stop Zach Edey. And they did for a little bit of that first half. They were up, and it was definitely considerable to see Gonzaga actually leading throughout that first half. And like I said, the game plan to stop Zach Edey was working. But then throughout that game, Zach Edey was going to find himself open. Tennessee is known for their defense, and I feel like Tennessee, the way that they look this year, they look like a team that actually could really contend in this SEC. And I think that they can cover the spread against Purdue. I think Purdue is not that much better. Purdue definitely deserved that win yesterday, but like I said, Gonzaga could not hit a three in the second half. So, I mean, if Gonzaga knows how the recipe to solve Tennessee in terms of their offensive issues, I think, if Gonzaga can stop Purdue, I think Tennessee can easily stop Purdue today. I think plus is very generous. I think that line is already moving in the opposite direction. So, look, I think, in our direction, Tennessee, I think now is -2.5 or even potentially +3. So, I think Tennessee and Gonzaga either cover in the spot. I think Tennessee on the money line is a great sprinkle. I think Tennessee could I think they are the better team. I don't think that Zach Edey and his size is going to be just enough to stop this Tennessee team that can do it on both ends. And when you have a team that can do it on both ends, especially in this neutral site court, I don't like the better team, which is Purdue for a lot of people. So give me Tennessee +3.5, and I'll sprinkle them on the money line, just a little sprinkle. But my two confident plays, Gonzaga to cover. I think this is a great bounce back spot for them, and then Tennessee to cover and the little sprinkle on the money line. Those are my two best bets for today. Ari, what are you cooking up? What do you got on this Tuesday?
Yeah, I have two plays as well. I think this is my first official college basketball play on here of the season, and maybe second, but I'm going with Kansas to cover against Marquette. You talked earlier about Marquette and them squeaking out the win over UCLA, and Marquette's a team that generally lives and dies by the three, and they couldn't hit a three in the first half against UCLA last night. And I think Kansas has enough defense to contain them in that regard, and they're better offensively and, less reliant on the three ball and more of a balanced offense. Obviously, they're number one in the country for a reason. I think we're going to see Dickinson have a big game down low tonight, and they're going to be able to do enough defensively to limit Marquette, from three. And if they're not hot from three, then like we saw last night with them squeaking out the one over UCLA, they're not, they're vulnerable, let's just say. So I like Kansas -4. And then going to the NBA, I like the Magic to cover at home against Toronto. The Magic are a top 5 team defensively right now in terms of points allowed per game. Toronto, I've talked about before, is, they're good defensively as well, but they're not quite the same team away from home as they are at home. And it's in Orlando. Magic have kind of been a pretty sneaky team so far this year, and I like them to kind of keep it up. I was looking at the under as well in this game because both teams are solid defensively, but the total is so low that it's like both defenses could show up and they could still kind of sneak over late. So I'm just going for the Magic to cover here over Toronto.
My mic was muted. I actually was leaning toward Kansas today. I am taking them in my full card today. I am taking Kansas just on the first half. I don't really trust Kansas to really cover that full line at -4, but it's kind of like going like what you said, first in, just get out. And I like Kansas on the first half today. I think that was -2, and I saw it at -120. I think they just won the first half. They get out to a good start. You mentioned Marquette; they live and die by the three, as I already mentioned. And in this game, I think Kansas get out to a good start. They love to feed Hunter Dickinson inside. That's their offense. And when you have someone who can do it all on offense, just get him inside and just have him with the easy layup. I like that as well. And then you mentioned the Magic. They are at home. I like them in this spot against the Raptors at home. Look, you mentioned how the Magic have looked this year. They've definitely been a team that has been sneakily good, especially defensively. One of the better teams defensively. They're third in points per game, especially you take them at home in this spot. I like them against the Raptors on the road, who have struggled before. Their offense isn't really getting going right now. After this is a great spot for the Magic after the Raptors beat down the Pistons a couple days ago. I do like the Magic in this spot at -2 at home. So, look, I think that's a 4-0 card over here. I think that's a 4-0 card today. Just a little two-piece for both of us. Ari with the Kansas -4 pick in the college basketball game tonight, and then Magic -2 in the NBA. And then going back to mine, we got some early CBB action here. We got Gonzaga -12.5. That tip is in about an hour and a half, give or take a few minutes. And then we have Tennessee later this afternoon. I am taking them +3.5, and I'm also sprinkling them on the money line against Purdue tonight. Those are my two picks. Those are Ari's two picks. So don't forget, you can find both of these picks down below on AKP Sports Talk. That is our Twitter. You can find both of our cards down there, and they will be posted shortly right after this video. But that is going to do it for us today. That is Ari. I am Korea. We will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, obviously, Wednesday, and we're going to get ready for some big Thursday action because, obviously, Thanksgiving right around the corner, and we have 3 primetime games, so we're going to have some of our best bets for those coming up soon, but that's going to do it for AKP Sports Talk. We will see you guys tomorrow.